Hi guys, my name is Ayliz Ray and welcome to my new YouTube video. Today we will be talking about like competition and everything. I'll just share first of all like my thoughts in general of like competition and everything, and then maybe it will tie a bit together. Competing with someone is usually because you see that you either like something or because you have like a more of like ego driven way of seeing things, right? Like if you see someone being better in something that you would like, for example, love, you can get like a bit more competitive in it. Why? Because it's something you like to do, but it actually can like apply to many things in your life, like in your competition way of thinking, for example, like in school settings and family dynamics and everything. Like you can be in competition with everyone, but that's actually your own problem then. And now you might be like, Liz, what do you mean by like what do you mean by competition in terms of it's my fault? Well, the thing about competition is, as long as you're not in like a real competition show or anything like that, you make that in your own head that you are in competition with someone else, right? So basically you force yourself into the situation of like a competition, and you could basically avoid that yourself without any external help. And now you might be like, well, like how am I supposed to stop it if I don't do it really on purpose? Well, you have to understand that not everything has to be a competition in the first place. Like just because someone is better than you in something doesn't mean that your skills lack, you know? Like everyone has like different skill levels at something, and instead of seeing someone like, oh, they're better than me and going into competition with them, I want you to think like, oh, like they can do that, but I can, for example, do this, you know? Like you shouldn't like focus on the other person, but more on your own skills that you already have, for example. Without telling much about where I'm working, because I don't want to share it on the internet, let's just say that my coworker and I do pretty much the same thing, right? Like he's my coworker, of course we do the same thing, but he's a bit better because he has more experience than I do. And because of that, I don't have to see him as a competition. Why? Because he basically already spent the time more than I did. So he basically learned more than I did, right? And has like more knowledge about everything, right? And that doesn't mean that I'm less worthy of the work or that I'm worse and whatever, but like, why should I see this guy as a competition now? Because he can help me, right? With the knowledge he has, he can help me. And in other aspects we have to do in the workplace, I might fulfill him, you know, while he fulfills my legs maybe. And that's why I don't see it as a competition, because I like learning from other people. So I don't understand really the concept of being in competition with someone else, because I generally don't feel like I have to be in competition with anyone. Because first of all, everyone has his own like speed, like learning speed. For example, he learns faster than I do, for example, right? Because he has already that understanding that I don't have, right? And that's completely valid, because we are different humans, and that's what you have to like understand. Everyone is on a different level anyways, and even if you compete with someone, it will not make you look better, it will not make you more lovable, more likable, or whatever. Like it's useless and pointless, and it only stresses you out. And if one day the other person like understands that you're trying to be in competition with them, they will not like it either. Okay, because I remember how I once had a friend, and she was always in a competition with me, like always, like about makeup, about clothes, about everything, like personality wise and everything. She was always in a competition, and I first didn't really understood what was like going on, because like she was my friend, and I didn't really like looked into it. And after a while, as a person, like outstanding person, you will see that the person is kind of like viewing you in a weird way, right? And you will understand at some point that they don't seem to be at the same level as you are, in terms of I'm your friend and the other one is in a competition. And I think you can apply this to a lot of things, you know, like in a workspace, family, friends, whatever. Like, I think this, you can like apply it to everyone. And what I also think that goes like kind of hand in hand with competition is comparing. Because if you're in competition with someone, you're also like comparing yourself to someone else. And that's the whole point again. They have a complete different life than you have. They had different starting points, like maybe they already understand better math than you, as an example. That doesn't mean that you will never understand math or anything like that, but just because they're maybe like a quick learner or something like that doesn't make you less, and it shouldn't really make you feel like you have to be in a competition with this person. You know what I mean? Like, instead view the people around you that are better than you, that are more experienced, have more knowledge, like more of, try to learn from those people, because that's literally the valuable thing you can get out of them, right? Like learning new things, in my opinion at least. Like, I love people that are smarter than I am. I don't want to say I'm the smartest or anything like that, but I just love when I know the person I'm talking to is like very smart, okay? Because I feel like I can always like learn something new, and I love to like kind of like, I love to like learn new things and kind of like have more of a view about like different things. For example, someone that's like very interested in cars probably can tell me a lot about cars, and I'm not really interested in cars. So that's something that's like very useful, where I'm like, okay, maybe like if I wouldn't have had that person telling me that, I wouldn't have known, and maybe I would have never like looked into it. The only thing you get from being in competition with someone or something else with someone else is basically more of like, you will feel miserable. Like, you will feel miserable, like no one else but you. And you will always be, every time you do something, you will be like, oh, but like they do it better, like maybe I should even quit this, you know? Like that could also happen, like if you're like thinking, oh, I'm so bad at this, maybe I shouldn't do it at all, and then you will quit maybe your passion for something that you had, like drawing or something like that. Comparing, like a lot of people are nowadays on social media and compare themselves, and I feel like that also includes like getting very unhappy about their own situation, because guys, everything on the internet is almost fake. Like, I can tell you a lot of things are fake, okay? Like all the stars you're seeing, all the influencers you're seeing, like you don't even know what's like going on behind closed doors. Like literally you don't know. And that's why I think it's like, it makes no sense to be too invested in other people, especially like fame people, because they show you something that they want to be known for, you know? Like everything that represents them on the internet is something that basically they will be like, want to be known for, you know? Like if I would just share just my motorcycle, I just would want to be like known just for my motorcycle, right? And like that's what, for example, I don't want to be known for, right? So I'm also like making like mindset content, I guess you can call this. And yeah, it's important to like differentiate in between those two things, like reality and fakeness. I'm not saying that everyone on social media is fake, but you know, like majority are just portraying their lives as if everything is good. And believe me, guys, I don't really think that many people have a perfect life, even though some have more of a perfect life than others. That's true, but everyone struggles in some degree, some more, some less, and that's just unfairness. But like being in comparison of that or something like that, like comparing yourself to that, it makes no sense. Because for example, let's say you're someone that doesn't have a lot of money, that's like looking up to like very rich people. The thing is, you looking up to those people will not make you any more richer, you know? Like as long as you don't use it as for motivation. Like if you use it for motivation, okay, but if you look at those people and you feel like some degree of like jealousy in you, or you're like comparing your whole life to it, it will not make it better. They will not make it better. The thing that will make it better is taking that maybe as a motivation to get out of your situation, however you want to do it. You should like really focus on just yourself and your skills. Like compare yourself to yourself and compete with yourself instead other people. Because like for example, if you're in school, you can just take out your old grades and be like, okay, I will do it better next time. And then you compare yourself with yourself, you know? And guys, the other thing is like, we don't have to be perfect, because we're not on this earth to be perfect, okay? I'm not saying about like that they're that everyone is imperfect or something like that, but you don't have to be perfect in everything, you know? It's enough if you're happy with the skills you have, it's enough if you're happy with the life you have. Like you don't need too much to be happy, you know? You don't have to have everything perfectly. Like in my job that I'm currently doing, I will never be perfect at that job because that's almost impossible. And I started very late in the job that I'm doing currently. I will never get the skills and the knowledge other people have that started before me. But it makes no sense comparing myself to those people, because we had different lives, you know? And I will still somehow like succeed in that job. Why? Because I want to do that job and I'm comparing myself to myself. And that's the whole point about everything of this, you know? And also like comparing yourself with like influencers. So when I was younger, around the age of like 14, 15, when like all this Instagram thing had this rise of like influencers and stuff, I used to like compare myself a bit in terms of like, I saw those people, like the girls, having like so many new clothes and so many makeup and whatever, like everything that I was like interested in back then. I wasn't jealous of the person, but I was like kind of like, it made me sad about my own situation, you know? And because of that, I basically went and every time I got money, I tried to buy things, you know? Like I was never in debt for clothes or anything like that, but I was, in my opinion, consuming way too much. But that's what you see on the internet. It seems normal. Like everyone had like drawers full of makeup and you thought that's normal, you know? But it's actually not. And it made no sense. But I was like comparing myself because I was like, oh, like look, they have it, I have to have it too. Something like that. And You know, like as a child, I don't blame those things. Just focus on yourself. Because if you focus on yourself, you will not focus on other people. And believe me, it's way better to live that way. And you don't need to have, like, I know one person once said that they follow, like, for example, fitness influencers to be motivated. But I think that motivation can turn actually someday into, like, hate and force, maybe. Like, in terms of, like, maybe, for example, that person claims to did it in a year to get from that body to the new body, okay? And maybe yourself will be struggling and it's been already 2 years and you don't see any changes. And then I ask myself, like, is it really that motivating to hear like someone else is saying, I just needed 1 year for that transformation? Now the person doesn't even see much changes besides some in 2 years. Like, I think that will be very demotivating. So I'm not really a fan of like looking into motivation from others, but if you think that helps you, then just do what you think helps you the best. But I wouldn't really like necessarily advise on it, you know, like comparing yourself, it just, in my opinion, like eating up your joy. And like getting like motivating from like social media and stuff can maybe sometimes even harm in the long run. So yeah, that's my opinion on everything about that. And thank you for watching. See you in my next video. Bye bye.